Welcome to the Wirraway versus Heclapar play-by-mail campaign, where it is the 2nd of March, 1942. Cox Bazaar flips to the Japanese. It's always good. The A-18 is operating off Balikpapan. Slightly damaged. Nothing really significant. Oh, 16 is there too. See if oh, Dutch submarines everywhere. K-11 off Madras. There aren't a lot of Dutch submarines left. They've suffered about 50% losses. As float planes are picking up my task forces around Balikpapan, but nowhere else that's good, other than the Philippines. Sally's hitting his troops in the open. Modest success. Weather's not good. Sweeps going after the bombers, never ideal. Lilies and Sonias on their Manila milk run. The moment they are not escorted, I'm not sure if he's picked up on that. There's no long range cap from the Oscars. The Oscars are covering the convoys landings just south of Vigan. Doing Tangsha, airfield suppression, fort building slowing, hitting ground troops in the open. More Sonias. Lilies. Weather's slowing down those hits. Getting so many troops in Changsha right now. That he's rebuilding that airfield as quickly as it can damage it, which is fine as long as he's not able to build forts of any significance. Quiet. 17's going after Norfolk, killing off some of my support squads before I can get that SLF fleet out of there. Though losses, as I said, tend to be exaggerated by at least 2 to 1. I just gotta sink one of my small patrol boats, escorting some small AKLs, offloading supplies. Deliberate attack. It's very good results. Of course, those are exaggerated, but uh, excellent results in that attack. Okay, let's see if we can dislodge these units that we've outmaneuvered around Wuchao. Yes, good. Good attack. It's not low on supplies, but we didn't suffer a lot of losses. Oh, just one unit retreated. Okay, well, we'll have another go at the others. Just about ready to attack again at Mandarin. Typical stuff in the Philippines. Still a week or more away from attacking there. 41st Regiment. The remnants of the Dutch. Tanks will probably run over, yes, the Punjabis. Okay, that's good. So that's a key base with lots of heavy industry. Let's see how it went. Guard units, company-sized guard unit chasing down the Dutch remnants on Sumatra. Allies bombard Clark. They showed good results, but I'm really not seeing any actual impact to my units. Okay, we'll speed through the end of this. Okay, let's just take a look at the intelligence screen. According to this, we had 3 ops losses. He had 1. Uh, he really isn't flying. He's running very few missions. Um, yeah, you see, we're buying out as much of Manchukuo as we can. Let's just take a look at. We lost that small patrol boat. Do a quick around the world check here. Unloading supplies at Adak using Amchitka as our source. We're feeding with fast transports the other bases, loading up at Atu to take Shimya, and these are on the way home. So there are a few dot bases in here we could still pick up and probably will, but some largely our Lucian campaign, except for some small fast transport activities and fort building and general resilience building, is complete. Down in Senpak, our submarines did not make contact with that troop convoy, assuming it was heading south. Um, the Glens didn't catch a sniff of it. So the other possibility is it was going the other direction. It was on the return trip, and our initial intel was wrong. But we'll keep at it and see if we can find that convoy. We know Triton is operating here. Uh, in SOPAC, we completed our evacuation of Norfolk Island. So the 7th ended up losing a total of 6 squads over time. It'll certainly dent its experience rating when those are replaced, but this is not a key unit. It doesn't build up to anything. Let's check in the Philippines. So our landing is complete. We've got more reinforcements on the way. Here. So that's the rest of the main divisional reinforcements that will make up the core of our attack on Manila. We're going to concentrate at Cabanatuan on, and then as soon as we're ready, move into Manila so he doesn't see the buildup. Notice he's just not, he has no recon naval search out here. So right now we're able to move through the South China Sea undetected, unimpeded, while he does still have naval search in this zone. So we're just about ready to launch our invasion of Tarakan, and as soon as that has removed naval search here, then the KV will begin its redeployment. And right now, the only real risks are stumbling into a submarine, so we'll set up ASW coverage and or potentially getting picked up by naval search operating out of Darwin. When we get down in here, we'll talk more about the tactics of getting by that naval search. Still has a submarine operating right off Osthaven. Cleanup on Sumatra continues. We'll continue to bomb the remaining units at Magway. So to flip Magway, let's check and see. Asansol. Oh, great. Heavy industry ended up just very, very minor damage. So we picked up a good bit of heavy industry between Jamshedpur and Asansol, and next stop, the big one, Calcutta. Doesn't have much here. He's retreated everything up north, which is fine. It's a good move by him, but it also makes our life easier for capturing the major industrial portions of India. He's got this remnant artillery unit want to track down and destroy, um, and meanwhile prep for the invasion of Ceylon and be in position once Calcutta falls for the push on Hyderabad. China is still same, had a good attack here. We'll try again. Um, don't know when we'll break through here, but we will eventually break through. And the battle for Changsha is just about full on. As soon as we can move more units and buy out some artillery to some good artillery to balance our forces there, we'll continue the attack. Right now, we really only have a single decent medium artillery regiment. This is a divisional unit with just typically smaller guns. This is just 81 millimeter mortars, and this particular unit is 30 centimeter howitzers. But other than that, we have no real decent, what I would call core artillery in Changsha, and that needs to be fixed. We'll attack again here and route these two units. That's good. Opens up our push on Luqiao through this ×2 terrain. Okay, so the other thing I was asked to do is talk about ship conversions. And ship conversions can be a complicated topic, but let's break it down. The biggest thing, and I think I've talked about this before, but let me cover it again. The two Tenru class World War I light cruisers can be converted on the 1st of February, February 42, to AA cruisers. And this is a really nice upgrade. These ships are 29 knots, so they can keep up with the bulk of your carrier task force. They get a generally excellent array of the 12.7 centimeter dual purpose guns. So this is a really valuable upgrade. It takes 180 days, but you want to get that started. These ships have no other particular useful purpose as the World War I era, like cruisers. So get them converted to AA. So your second thing that usually comes up is what to do with your CSs, your scout cruisers. First thing you have to remember about the CSs is can't do anything about them. That's the Chaitos and Chayota until November 42. I do convert these ships to CVLs, both of them. And you want to make sure their air groups are on them when you convert them, because their air groups will convert to zeros and Kates. I think it's 21 and 7 is the distribution of those for the sizes, but they will auto convert for you. But this upgrade takes almost a year and can only be done for those two ships in Tokyo. This is something rules don't say, but it is true. And you have to expand the repair shipyard in Tokyo, the repair shipyard, to 50 in order for this to happen. I do it. I don't rush to do it. That's 40,000 supply points, but by midsummer, I'll expand the repair shipyard, and in October, move those two CSs to Tokyo. The other CSs, like let's look at it this way. So those two ships are steam turbine driven 29 knot ships. Uh, they are the other CSs. There's Muzo, which is a diesel-driven ship, and she doesn't upgrade um, until 43. She gains a couple knots speed in that conversion, but I don't know that you get a lot from that, and her air group doesn't convert. And these can be done just about anywhere. Um, it takes 10 months, and it can be done anywhere you have a shipyard size of 25. But you're a long way from being able to do it. Nishin um, can convert again, not until late. Um, her air group doesn't convert with her. Uh, um, I have mixed feelings on this conversion. You know you can, as most Japanese players do, supersize other air groups so you have fighters to put on these ships. But by the time she's converted, uh, you know you're talking early mid 44. Well, if you have Sam's, it's always good. So um, it's potentially worth doing. The counter argument is to keep them for their anti-aircraft capability. Uh, I'm not a I'm not a big fan of that. The six guns they have aren't a really significant advantage, but and of course the 25s are nearly useless. But some people do. Bottom line is, I generally do convert all the CSs because they're obsolete as CSs by the end of 42. Um, they're useful until the end of 42, and that's it. And then convert them to light carriers, even the slower ones. Because if you can eventually get SAMs on them, they can be a potent advantage to your HAP. But again, you've got many months. You've got until the end of 42 and early 43 to even start uh, worrying about this. So Nishan, converts in December 42, while Chaitos and Chayota convert a month earlier. So that's my thought on your major conversions. I don't convert obviously any of the battleships or the excellent Mogami class cruisers, excellent in the game anyway. Mogami class cruisers, into their essentially CS configuration, their pseudo aircraft carrier with the float planes in the back. Because by 43, once the Allied carriers are upgraded with certainly when they get Hellcats and they have tons of radar, float planes as search aircraft just get torched. So, as I said, the whole scout cruiser concept is essentially obsolete, uh, certainly by the end of 42. So, what other conversions do I do? I think I've talked about the destroyers before. Um, but I'll just show you a simple spreadsheet that I use. Um, Kamikazes, I convert to APDs. The Minakazes stays destroyers. There's no option. Momos, and Wakatakis all upgrade to escorts. I talked about the Tenru class light cruisers, standard C tankers. Um, they're standard C cargo ships with a speed of 12 and tonnage of 3241. They can be upgraded to tankers in June of 42. You don't have a lot of them, but I do that. The use in A's, um, Generally, I'll start off as AKs, but you should convert all your Houston A's to AKs as soon as possible. Your N's can be converted to AKs. You should absolutely do that. And your Husimis can be converted to AKs. This makes a really important difference once your amphibious bonus expires to your ability to continue to conduct offensive operations. I convert essentially all the Ansu Cs. Those are the 14 knot, 3,000 ton XAKs. And they make really useful um, fast transports. They convert the PBs. I don't use them as patrol boats. They're too big, too expensive um, in terms of their loss ratio if they're hunting submarines, but they make really excellent fast transports. I resupply much of, my extended empire using Ansu C fast transport task forces as PBs. They carry 1,000 tons in their PB configuration. Standard A's and the standard C's are in your build queue. They're 14 knot. The tonnages are listed there, 6,672 and 4,858, and they have 19 build points and 14 build points respectively. They can convert to tankers. I always have to check, maybe the standard Bs that don't, but I always have to build one or two first before I realize that that's why this is flagged in yellow. But if you go to your build queue, it'll take a moment to respond. Um, but if you look at your build queue, I generally turn off all other XAKs except uh, the bigger ones, the 18 knot, and then the standard A's and standard C's. So you can see I typically halt these others. You need to go through. You have to keep updating these to halt them because they just end up getting sunk. No real advantage to them. This is a standard A, and she'll convert to a tanker. And so I keep building those. Uh, this is a standard B, and my memory is she will also convert to a tanker. So I build those, and then I generally halt the others. In terms of other conversions, there's lots of debate about AKs. I'm sorry, AKEs. The key to understanding the AKE conversions is you need a couple AKEs in each theater to resupply your cruisers and your battleships in particular. You can't resupply the supers, the 18-inch gunned ships, uh, from an AKE. Uh, so um, I tend to use the 12 knot ships um, of otherwise sort of limited utility as uh, conversions. You can see that these are Aden class AKEs. They um, they have a load capacity of 3,700 tons, which is enough to resupply anything up to 14-inch guns. where your two Nagatos are operating, you'll need slightly larger ships. I also tend to convert a number of ADs. So I have ADs, I have at least uh, one AD and one AKE in each theater, with some backups. Those are critical to sustaining your operations in NORPAC, SouthPac, um, and other areas. In turn, other conversions besides the Ansu Sea patrol boats, here's two again that I use as fast transport. These are again some of the most useful ships. Uh, you can, let me see if I can find something simple here. I generally convert my Tosu class to a mixture of uh, ACMs, just enough to provide all my major ports with two or three, particularly around the home islands, and a few at my forward bases. I convert a handful to coastal minesweepers, and um, and that's about it. Uh, I don't I don't recommend um, massive number of ACMs. You 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 need some you need you need some in your major ports. You need some at choke points because your mines are a wasting resource otherwise. But they don't do a lot of good at your forward bases if you have to keep those forward bases fueled for the ACM to function, and any preparatory bombardment or bombings will sink those ACMs. So there's only limited value of them. So I don't build a ton of them. The coastal minesweepers uh, are useful, and again, those tend to be, sorry. See here, she's a Tosu also. They have decent endurance, so they come in a couple different varieties, these smaller ships, but they have a decent endurance, and um, you need some endurance to get them to the forward ports. I keep the really short-legged ones back home, and I don't convert any of these to patrol boats. They just become torpedo magnets. They're just too slow. And the only place where the slow patrol boats are of really any use after the early phase of the war is in the shallow waters of the Dutch East Indies, um, and around some of your ports. But the Allied submarines will generally choose deep water, and the patrol boats are just uh, almost no use. Once by June of 42, they're of almost no use. They're just too slow. The submarines chew them up, and uh, yeah, you gotta come up with a different way to defend your convoys than the patrol boats. Early on, I escort the convoys with a patrol boat or two, even in deep water, because it at least keeps the submarines um, off the surface. But by June, you've got to have your ASW, got to have your ASW network fully established because you just don't have enough escorts. By mid 43, you start getting the advanced E classes, and you have more effective escorts. But there's a blackout period from essentially June of 42 until well into 43 where the Allied submarines are effective and your surface ASW assets just are inadequate. So uh, train a lot of ASW pilots. Okay, well, I hope that was helpful. We can put more coats of paint on conversions. I guess my advice to you is you won't win or lose the war by conversions, but those Ansu class 14 knot 3,000 ton X8Ks are great assets. Convert them to patrol boats, and those old light cruisers, the Tenrus, convert them to AA. You've got plenty of time to think about what you want to do with the CSs. I generally convert them, and then just have enough ACMs to stack all your key ports and maintain your mines, which are a wasting asset, and a handful for your forward bases, and then maybe the rest of those Tosu whalers, uh, convert them to local mine sweepers. I don't rush to do it. I do it in batches and sort of assess my need as I go. And then don't forget your AKs. You'll need your AKs. I'm sorry, your AKEs. You'll definitely need your AKs. Those 18 knot AKs are your most useful transport ships. But I'm looking for my have a fleet train on its way somewhere here. I was just looking to see where it is. Oh, it's in port. That's what I thought. So this is an example of how I use a fleet train. I've got an AR, an AKE, and an AD in port to support this particular theater. And remember, that 3736 will allow you to rearm up to 14-inch guns. If I have Nagatos, I have to come up with a different plan for the Nagatos. Right now, my two Nagatos are operating out of Ominato. Okay, look forward to our next chance to talk.